Hi there, welcome to Life with Andy, where we discuss life and the lessons learned along the way. Today I wanted to take the time to talk about failure and how to move on from it. Now, unfortunately, as much as we may be afraid of it or might not like it, failure is a part of our lives and we will experience it at some point. Whether it's personally, in relationships, or through dieting, or whatever personal goal you have, or in your career, maybe you don't get the job you wanted, or things take a turn unexpectedly. Failure is a reality of life, but it doesn't have to be all negative. We have the power to choose how we respond to failure. It's not easy, but you do have a choice. So I'm going to start with my own professional journey. In fact, I've had a lot of failure there. Oh man. But there's one particular experience that really taught me a lot. And it was really difficult for me to get over. So what happened was I applied for an internship with a Big Four accounting firm. I was still a uni student at the time, but I was also working. So it was quite a busy time, and the interview process for the Big Four accounting firms, if you haven't gone through them before, they're very intensive with a lot of different interviews and tests of all sorts, whether it's like logical reasoning, numerical reasoning, verbal reasoning, all these different types of tests they put you through, and it was a really competitive role. I think for the one role I applied for, there were over 3,000 applicants that went for it, so very competitive to get in particular at this time anyway. So as I was going through, for me, my mentality was, I know the testing, all of that side of things, and the pre-interviews where before you meet them in person, I knew that would be the biggest challenge for me to overcome. And my mentality was, if I can get through those stages, once I'm in person, I'm so confident that when they come to meet me, that I will make a good impression and be part of their team. Which in hindsight, wow, I'm quite introverted as a person, even though I'm doing these videos. So I don't know where that confidence came from, but hey, good job past me. But yeah, so what happened was the in-person test, what they did is they put me in a room with 4 other people who were all going for the same role, and we had to work together on a 2-hour exercise and present a presentation to the board for this particular Big Four firm. Now, in this time, this is probably, how would I describe it? I'd say it's like a group assessment, but on steroids, meaning that if you've ever done a group assessment at school or at university, they never go well. But this was like 100 times worse because everyone's going for the same role. We've got people silently marking you in the room the whole time, and the strong personalities in the room. There was one guy who talked about his dad being a CFO for one of New Zealand's largest companies. Another guy saying that he worked for this Big Four firm overseas, and a bunch of other people saying that they were, dean's lists, graded their study, when there's me going for an auditing role, and I've only done my stage 1 accounting paper. So these guys at least have their degrees, some of the masters, way more qualified than me. And then at that time, like, oh man, what am I in for? But we did the presentation. They all went off the rails a bit, trying to, impress, and didn't really follow the guidelines, which I thought was interesting for an auditing role. But anyway, going through that, and a bunch of the staff at the after party, they had drinks, they would talk to me and say, mate, like, Andy, can't wait to work with you, you're awesome, you fit the culture here, you're everything we're looking for. And I left, feeling so confident, like more confident than I've ever felt before. Like maybe it's like those people who walk out of exam and go, I aced it. I'd love to be one of those people. But that just the pure confidence mode. I nailed it. I did everything well. I handled the situations. excellently, built really good rapport with the team, met everyone in the company, made an intentional effort to go out. Even though networking isn't always my favorite thing to do, I put myself out there and did it. So fast forward about 2 weeks later, I get a call. I see it's from the HR manager, and I'm so excited. I'm like, this is it. This is the moment when, see you later, retail, here's to start my career, and to, being a baller. Yeah, that was a tough call. I remember getting it, and at the time I was driving to buy a car or something, and I remember taking the call and them saying, Andrew, you're great, blah, 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 blah. And then they really built me up, and then they said, sorry, but we're not going to go with you. And I was speechless. It was so opposite to my expectations. I did everything I possibly could right. It's not like I could go back and say, I wish I did this or wish I did that. I did everything I could perfectly, and I still failed. Like as hard as I tried, or as good as I thought I did, it failed, and that was really tough. That really shook me, and unfortunately, this ties into, I guess, my personal challenge. I was in a relationship at that time for about 6 years, and that girlfriend of mine really put a lot of pressure on me to get a role with a highly reputable company and to make a lot of money, and she was putting a lot of pressure on me to be that kind of person. And when I didn't get it, as much as I was challenging with my own personal shock, I guess the anger she had that I dropped the ball, that really shocked me too. And in the end, that relationship, as hard as I tried to make it work, it ended up falling through. And in both of those situations, I remember feeling so confused, so just broken, putting so much effort into something and it didn't work. And moving on from that wasn't easy. For me, it was a real struggle to move on from both of those experiences. So that for the job, that one, in hindsight, worked out really good, because I was able to use that experience in that Big Four company, learning about it, and eventually got offered a job with the accounting technology company, and ended up consulting to that very company about how to use the software. Which, it's funny how that works, but that was 4 years after the fact. That's 4 years of just dwelling on this failure. But what helped me move on is I acknowledged how I felt. I think it's very easy to put up a wall and say, yeah, all good, that doesn't affect me. But I think in reality, you do need to acknowledge when something hurts. Like if you fail and it hurts, you need to acknowledge it, because it's when you acknowledge it, you're able to go through the grieving process for that failure. So whether that's just spending some time being sad, shedding a few tears, being angry, anger's okay too, as long as you don't harm anyone with the anger. But anger isn't a negative emotion. It's neutral. It just depends on how you use the anger. Anger can be good because it encourages you to take steps. So yeah, for me initially, I was very upset. Then I got angry, and in that anger, like, okay, what can I do to move forward, to learn from this experience? And it's in thinking about this that I'm actually reminded of a quote. Let me just grab my notebook so I don't say it wrong. And this quote is something I hold on to when I experience a failure of some kind, or I'm worried that I'm not at a certain level of success. It goes like this. Success is to be measured not so much by the position that one has reached in life, but by the obstacles which they have overcome. So that's by Booker T. Washington. And I think when you acknowledge how you're feeling failure, acknowledge that there has been a failure. The next thing I think about is getting perspective. So getting perspective on how, for me, is thinking about, I'm very fortunate that I still have breath in my lungs and food to eat. This failure thing sucks. Maybe I missed out on my dream job at the time. My relationship, which I poured 6 years into, has fallen apart. And it's that perspective, yes, that's hard, but I'm still grateful that breath in my lungs, I'm still able, or that failure, is not something that's final. It's not the end of my book. It can be just a chapter. And as I move forward, it's something that I can use to help others. So first it was acknowledge it. Second was get perspective and share gratitude. And think of what you can be grateful for. And the third thing I would say is don't walk it alone. Spend the time with people that you trust and that are close, that are willing to walk through with it, that are able to, speak against that failure in your life. So if you don't have someone in your life and you're watching this right now, I want to take this time to speak to you directly. And sorry, the sun's glaring in my eyes, but yeah, I want to take this time to speak to you directly. Look, whatever happened, maybe it was your fault, maybe it wasn't. In the end, I'm sorry that happened, and that's really tough for you. But I just want to say, for you personally, this isn't the end of your life chapter, your life story. This is just a chapter. And for me, I know some of the people I look up to the most, or especially in stories, were heroes that overcame significant challenges. And I know for you, whatever failure you're facing, it's going to be something that makes your story so much more vivid and so much more impactful and powerful. And I just want to say, it doesn't define you. Your failure doesn't define you. It's how you respond to it. I'm cheering for you, and thank you so much for watching this video. If you do need anyone to talk to, I highly recommend speak with counsellors as well. Professional help is a great way to deal with failure, especially if it's deep and you can't fully process it yourself. Otherwise, I want Life with Andy to be a community where we build up each other and encourage one another. So if you do want a word of encouragement, feel free to leave a comment, and I'll be happy to share personal encouragement to you. Love you lots. Thank you so much for watching, and I know that you will be able to cope with failure moving forward. Let's move forward together, and like we said with that quote, one more time, goes like this: success is to be measured not so much by the position one has reached in life, but by the obstacles which they have overcome. And your failure is an obstacle which you can overcome. Peace!